Okay, still talking about the state of the nation. People, we are a religious people.
Yes.
They look up to pastors,
Yeah, sure.
imams, and right now people have concerns even with the pastors and
Okay.
the clerics.
Yes.
You hear the issue of private jets.
Yes.
People think the congregation is suffering
And the person is
pastor
flying.
is flying everywhere.
Okay.
Preaching to who?
Okay.
So what do you have to say concerning leadership even in the religious sector?
Well, unfortunately, there will not be enough time for me to clarify that issue, but I will try as much as possible. I think at the end of the day, the context of Nigeria is one of the reasons why we react to these things, because of the mass need on ground. However, you will find that the people we are talking about, out of probably 20 million clergy, may not be more than 6. So I think, first of all, there is a blowing out of proportion by the media, because 6 people out of 20 million is not a large proportion. Then when you take those 4 or 6 individuals, look at their itinerary and find out, is it even saving money for the organization to have it, or is it costing the organization? I'll just use one example, if you permit me. I'll say Pastor Adeboye. I was with that man in Toronto. We had an all-night prayer meeting. The all-night we finished 5 a.m., and he was to also speak to pastors by 10 a.m. in Washington or thereabout, which is another 1.5 or 2 hours flight. He finished 5 a.m. Even if it's 2 hours sleep, if the man is over 70, if he had gone to Toronto airport to wait, they could cancel the flight. He may get to where he's going. And when he finished the Washington meeting, he had another all night. In fact, I was just with him 3 days ago, and it happens that it's like almost every week. People think it's only the one he holds on Lagos-Ibadan Express. That he just told me he finished in India, crossed over to Kenya the next day, and when he finished in Kenya, crossed over to I think Abuja or Lagos to hold another one. You can sit in some airports 16 hours. Just coming from Kenya to Lagos, a 3.5-hour flight once took me 16 hours. So I think it has been blown out of proportion. You find that it saves them much more money. For him to do those kind of itinerary, he has to lease. He has to rent from somebody else's plane. And in the process, the organization will pay more. I think sometimes we look at the need in our nation and fail to realize that if it is a necessity for certain people, we have not questioned people who yesterday just finished university and today own 2 jets. We've not asked where did they get it from? How did they get it? Because Lagos International Airport is littered with private jets. When you land, there are up to 40. And you just wonder, when did the economy reach the place where people have all this? And we're having billionaires who are under 45 and who only left university 15 years ago. How did it happen? I think it's been blown out of proportion. Certainly, there are issues within the religious bodies.
Are there no issues?
There are several issues, and I think this morning's program is not enough to deal with all the issues. My only statement will be this. It is very difficult for a nation to not reflect the church in it, and it's difficult for the church to not reflect the nation in it. However, it is important for those who lead those churches to begin to realize Nigeria, the answer is not in the hand of these politicians.
Okay. As part
we
of
need
closing,
to up our game.
Because we need to close very quickly. Just
Sure.
before you go,
Sure.
I'm interested in finding out the state of KICC in the United Kingdom. It's thriving, it's achieving a lot, it's breaking new grounds, but
Yes.
what's the situation with the headquarters?
Okay, fantastic question, and we have a massive testimony, very massive. So 5 years ago, they bought our land, which they used for the Olympics, paid us some money. I wouldn't want to mention the amount. I don't want anybody waiting for me outside. And showed us a piece of land which they will allow us to build on, but they refused us planning permission. We found another place, they refused us planning permission. We lost a lot of money, but God spoke to me that all things work for good. Because if we had started building, the building was going to cost 70 million pounds. It would have been too much resource for one building. But suddenly, I'm here to let the world know that a month ago, a property worth 42 million pounds, constituting 24 acres, 12 buildings already built on site, built with lottery money by the Boy Scouts of Kent, worth 42 million pounds on 24 acres, 12 buildings, 2 foundations, was bought not for 42 million pounds by KICC, but for 5 million pounds.
Wow.
And so we'll be having a Christmas service there, watch night service there. It's turned around. One of the buildings has 2 halls that can seat 7,035 rooms, and then 11 other buildings. So God has turned it around.
This is in Raynham.
This is in Kent.
It's in Kent.
Yeah, it's in Kent,
okay.
which is just about 15 minutes from Raynham.
Okay.
So these are our latest, massive testimony. What should have taken us 70 million, God gave us for 5.
For 5 million. That is amazing testimony.
It is.
So you're having your Christmas celebration in
watch
there.
night service there. We'll come out, finish the renovation, then we'll go in from like Easter and we're there.
Conversion into a church premises, is the planning permission granted?
That was one of the beauty of this one. That in the UK, you have to go through all that whole 9 yards. It was the condition we gave the vendors that before we buy, you must secure permission to use. They secured it. We also waited the 3 months which somebody can oppose it. That one passed before we paid.
Okay, now having done that then, in terms of traffic, we know that one of the problems that KICC has had in the past, traffic into that area.
Have you been to a church? How come you know?
Yeah, because I attended the church several times. I used to live in London.
No, the beauty of this one is that this building is, this 24 acres is like a city. We're calling it actually Prayer City. This place is just off the motorway and surrounded by 200 acres of trees. So we're not a problem to anybody. We have enough space for as many cars as will come to our services.
So if 500,000 people want to come for
even
a special
if they
service,
come, yeah, we'll manage it.
Okay, well, just as we wrap up now, because we got to go.
Sure.
Finally, what's your word on the special service you're looking at putting together in Abuja?
From Wednesday to Friday next week, God has laid on my heart to go to the city, the heart of the nation, and hold a 3-day prophetic ministration. I believe God has very specific words prophetically, which he wants to give individuals who will be in the meeting. And wherever people are across Abuja and the metropolis, they should be in that meetings at the International Conference Center from the 5th to the 7th. That's from Wednesday to Friday. It's going to be awesome. I'll be speaking into people's individual lives. It's a recent thing God has been doing in my life where it just gives me word relating to where people are and what he wants to do in their life.
And I guess the situation in Nigeria deserves that.
We need much
that.
More. Yes.
Thank you so much for
my pleasure
on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Speaking with the senior pastor of Kingsway International Christian Church, Pastor Pst Ashimolowo.